Howdy, troll. So, this is the VoD review for your Clash games of September 10th, and we're going to do a little bit of a fun review of your lane and general performance. Okay, so first things first here, right? Let's back up a little bit. So, what you've got going, you're building a. Oh, let's go there. Let's see. So you're building a nice. You got a really nice slow push going on right here, right? This is perfect. This is exactly what you want. You've got level 5 before Garen, and yeah, you're sitting pretty, right? Um, Doing really well in the lane. Yeah, you've got all 3 of your corruption potions, a couple of biscuits. Life is good. All right, so right here, right, you've got your big wave, and Garen now, um, he's gonna have to face tank all these in order to keep the wave from crashing, right? And that's what you want. You want the wave to crash. The most important thing for you to recognize is that we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. So, anyways, so right now Garen's face tanking, right? This is allowing him to set up a freeze. Okay, you don't want that, obviously. So really, you want to do everything you can to crash the wave, right? So here at this point, the second he starts face tanking, that's when you can all in on him right there. Um, I wouldn't suggest going all in on him unless you know where the jungler is. So you at least need to threaten to all in on him. At least show signs that you're going to get real aggressive on him real fast if he's going to start tanking a full wave of minions, right? He's still level 4. These minions are going to do pretty decent damage. He is tanky, but still, like, he doesn't want to take that much damage in lane. So, when you get a slow push, make sure you crash the wave into the tower. You don't want him freezing right in front. So what ends up happening is that also another tip too is that if you're not sure where the minions are going to be, if he's actually going to be able to get the freeze off, which he does, you want to look at your own minions on the map and see where they're at, right? So let's back up a little bit and see. Um, so you got your slow push going, and this wave is huge, right? This is fantastic. This is great. Right here is when you want to start threatening him. All right, he's looking to stop the wave right here in front of his tower. You want to threaten him, make him pay for it. If he's gonna freeze, make him pay for it in health. All right. If you're not sure, if you think like, oh, okay, if you're not really cognizant of where the minions are on his side, just look at where your minions are on the map, right? So you see these minions are just a few moments from getting to your tower, right? So the opposite is going to be true here, right? So if you see minions getting close to your tower, you can guess that there's going to be minions getting close to his tower too. So he really doesn't have much time to put to free. The window to stop him from freezing is pretty small, right? So you got to take advantage of that really quickly, right? So seeing that there's minions coming to his tower pretty soon, he's going to set up a freeze on you. You want to threaten him as much as possible. Um, so he's going to end up just like face tanking the wave, and he's only going to have to tank it long enough to get until his minions show. His minions arrive, and you'll see his minions are arriving at his tower at the exact same time as your minions are arriving at your tower. So use that as kind of a little barometer to guess when the enemy minion wave is coming. Anyways, he's got a freeze here. It's not super great, because like the tower's like blasting the melee minion, but he's got enough casters here to like have him tank. Anyways, so it's not a super like powerful freeze, but well, it's a freeze nonetheless, and it's forcing you to walk away, right? Like this is what you don't want is to have to sit in front of this guy's tower. So when you're slow pushing, always make sure to crash the wave as soon as the guy's face tanking. So you're doing a roam here because you don't want to sit up in front of his tower. Totally understandable, but the idea is that you want to avoid these freezes in the first place, right? If you don't let him have the freeze, then you aren't forced to get into this position, right? So you want to crash the wave and then roam. What you did here is that you pushed the wave, allowed it to freeze, and then you roamed, right? Roaming is a pretty good idea, but what ends up happening is that it costs you a lot of time to roam for Kian, and you're down here, and you look right here up top. Um, you've got, let's see. So there's one minion, two minions. Oh, let's go back. Sorry. So the roam doesn't work, and Garen eventually. So you're gonna miss out XP on almost a wave, I think. Yeah. So when you're back, oh no, you're not back in XP range yet. Yeah. So when you get back into XP range, you've lost almost a full wave of minions, and that is that's putting Garen back in the game, or at least if you guys were even before that, you're giving him the advantage. He's gonna hit 6 before you. They might do a coordinated level 6 gank on you. I don't know. It depends. But either way, the most important thing to take away from this segment is that your time in lane is a valuable resource, right? When you die, when you roam, when you have to back, that's more of that resource lost. Time in lane is XP, right? And as Ornn, it's incredibly important for you to be higher level than anybody else. Mostly because you're like the frontline tank, but also because you're passive, it's going to let you get access to more powerful items. Those items are going to be way stronger. They're end game items, obviously, but if you're going to be able to get them a little bit earlier, that's going to make a bigger difference. The earlier power spike, you can challenge dragons earlier. You can, you know, so that's the core takeaway. I hope you can remember from this is that XP is the most invaluable resource. You win top lane by just being higher level. The easiest way to win any game in League of Legends is just have more stats, right? And so the easiest way to get more stats is just have higher levels and more XP and more gold. So, uh, don't roam and lose minions. Um, don't let him set up a freeze if you can avoid it. If you have to, that's fine. But typically, instead of roaming, you can hide in the bush, or you can kind of chill back a little bit and just hang out with XP in XP range. Even if you don't last hit the minions, you're still getting XP, and that's still not a total net loss. But when you remove yourself in lane, you're losing XP and gold instead of just the gold. So worst case scenario, just float around in XP range. You're unarmed, you're tank, you got your corruption potions, you got 2 biscuits, and you have your flash up, right? So just hanging out in XP range is totally doable. They're not going to kill you if they try to gank you because like they have 1 CC with set, and Garen like runs really fast. That's about it. So um, yeah, so try and stay in lane as much as you can. You're a beautiful and wonderful team player, but top laner you got to be. There's instances where it is important for you to be greedy as a top laner. Just like Jake is greedy as fuck for minions and jungle camps and anything that's got a sack of gold attached to it, you have to be greedy about XP. All right. All right, so for this section, we are going to go over a TP that you make in the bot lane. All hell is kind of breaking loose down there in bot. There's people just getting murdered. Might be like a 3v2 or something. So let's take a look and see. Okay, so this is where you start TPing, right? Okay. Um, right now this does look fightable. Um, but initially there's a couple general rules that you want to adhere to when you're using your TP. First rule being, only use your TP to create an uneven fight. Don't use your TP to rescue somebody unless it's to prevent a tower dive, right? Um, especially if you're on a tank, right? If you're a champ like Irelia or um, Urgot or Kled, you clean this up. You come down here and you murder everybody, all right? But just for now, stick with the rule while you're still kind of getting the hang of like using TP. Only use TP to create an uneven fight. Don't use a TP to help somebody or to help a busted situation. Um, only use TP to create numbers advantage or to answer a 5-man push onto an objective. Otherwise, you got to save your TP. It's very important. Um, I do appreciate the attempt to help your team because this does look kind of winnable, right? Like Jake's doing work here, but this freaking set man, he gets to have damage and be tanky at the same time, so that's fun. Either way, your Ornn, you don't have damage, and these guys all have some kind of like CC, so um, yeah, it's not gonna work. So again, if you're Kled, you probably clean this up, or Aurelia or somebody like that, or Jax. Um, but as a tank, you will not do enough damage to really help finish off a fight. So just keep that in mind. But again, don't TP unless you're creating a numbers advantage with it, or if you're answering an objective. Otherwise, just leave it. And I hope uh, Yes, and if anybody gives you grief about it, let me know about that, and then I will help explain that situation. All right, game number three, Kench lane against Fiora. You know this matchup. You play Fiora. Typically, Fiora does really well into tanks, but Tom Kench is just a beast sometimes. So sometimes he gets to break those rules, and I think you look to do that here. So right here, Tongue Lash misses. Just to back up, I'm trying to tell this to most people right now in the team, but you rarely want to be the first person to use or cast a spell or use an ability, unless you're almost guaranteed that's going to work, right? Don't really fish for stuff. Just go for the guaranteed play. So as soon as you miss that Tongue Lash, this trade should kind of end, but Fiora goes back in, and let's see. So you get one Tongue Lash, another Tongue Lash. She ducks into the bush. You get your third proc. You get your stun off. That's fantastic. Now this is great. So the thing that you want to keep in mind here, while this fight looks even, you'll need to take note that you're getting attacked by, let's see, 4 minions right here. So she's got the help of 4 minions. Normally, minions, the earlier in the game, especially at level 1, minion damage hurts, right? These minions are accounting for a lot of damage that's going on you right now. You want to see, because as soon as Fiora started backing up past her minion line, this is when you should have ended the trade. You can't go all in here because you're taking a lot of minion damage. The melee minions on you, all 3 casters are on you. While Fiora's, she's got 3 of your casters aren't even touching her. This melee minion's not hitting her, right? So you basically got like just an extra wave of damage coming at you with every attack rotation that they have. So you're taking a lot of extra damage that normally wouldn't have made a difference, but it's just. And also the fact that the melee minion stopped your stun, that also kind of sucks too. So you really want to be mindful of where you're fighting, right? Especially if you've got aggro. Like this whole time, like the caster minions are still just like laying in you, which is not very fun. All your caster minions are just chilling, ready to hand Fiora some XP and gold. Yeah, so very important to pay attention to where you're trading. So especially level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Really just be mindful of how deep into the minion line you're fighting, because they can make the difference. I think if you guys are fighting on even footing and in a neutral lane, I think you would have won that for sure. Um, but yeah, the minions were just a little bit too much, so just be mindful of that. Alrighty, so you might have an idea of what I'm probably gonna say here, right? You're in lane, you got no mana, got barely any health. Can't see Ornn. Still in lane. Oh shit, look out. Got a flash. Alright. Your flash is down. You get the fuck out. There is no, you have no business being here. This is no longer your lane. Um, yeah, you can't hang out here. There's no, let's see. You're out of pot charges. Yeah, this is just super disrespectful here. Yeah, especially after your flash is down. It's definitely not worth it to stay in the lane anymore. Because looking at the gold, you're sitting on 2K. Yeah, it feels bad that Ornn's got a Sunfire and you've only got a Sheen, but you can back for a Phage. You can still get your Phage. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. It's a fine back. Plus his TP is down. You still have your TP. So and also you've got your ulti if you really need to influence the bot lane anymore. Either way, you shouldn't be here. You can't be here, especially with that flash. Like you're just kind of a sitting duck. Oh my gosh. No! That's alright. That's alright. Alrighty, so in conclusion, there are going to be 3 core takeaways I hope you can keep in mind from this VoD review. First being, watch your own minion waves so that you know where the enemy minion waves are, so that if you need to roam or invade, you'll avoid losing XP. You want to make sure that you're timing your movements on the map to when there's no XP to collect, right? So if you got a gap in time, go for it. But it's very important that you always keep in mind that your time in lane is a resource and you want to take advantage of that. Or your time in lane with minions in it to collect XP, that's the resource that you want to maintain, especially as a top laner. It's very important. But if there's no minions coming, there's nothing happening, feel free to roam and invade. Yeah, and that kind of leads into the second point. Always crash your waves. It's very important to always crash your waves into the enemy tower, whether they're there or not. If you're in a situation where they have to face tank in front of their tower to try to set up a freeze, you want to posture up and threaten them as much as possible. If they're going to set up that freeze, you make them pay for it. Make them pay for it in HP or psychological pressure or whatever, but never give them a free wave or a free freeze, I'm sorry. Always make them pay for that freeze. So, that's really important. Yeah, and then if you've crashed a wave and you don't see that there's another set of minions coming to collect for you, feel free to roam or invade to your heart's content. Or even back, whatever you like. The final takeaway is to only use your TP to create a numbers advantage or to secure an objective. You always want to avoid using your TP to save a lost fight. You're not going to be able to undo the damage. You're just throwing good money after bad at that point. If the fight's lost, the odds of you being able to turn around it are really slim, especially if you're not on a super fed carry, like a Jax or Fiora. And even then, your job as a top laner, especially as a split pusher or tank, really isn't to fix the bottom half of the map's losses. Really, your whole goal is to just be the strongest person on the map, force the enemy team to come to you, and push your advantages that way. Absolutely use the TP. Do use your TP offensively if you're creating a numbers mismatch, like the enemy dual lane is overly extended. TP behind him, smash him, take dragon, collect your money, win. Um, Other times use your TP obviously is to secure an objective to make the fight an even 5v5, but always use your TP proactively, never reactively. If you're using it reactively into a bad fight, it's just not going to work. 9 times out of 10 it's not going to work, and then you end up handing off a shutdown. You can't get back to lane quickly. It's just the potential downfalls are not worth the potential upsides for that. So don't use TPs defensively. If the play's blown, the play's blown, and just let it go. Yeah. So with that, that concludes our VoD review for September 10th. And if you have any questions, obviously hit me up. Yeah, but you've been doing really well. I like what I've seen the last couple of days. Yeah, you guys have been showing a lot of improvement, especially you. I like that you've been more mindful of how much you're sitting in lane. So I'd like you to keep doing that. And good luck in your future games. Take it easy, friend.